Beep, 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 beep. Is this annoying yet? Beep, beep. Obviously, still behind the camera, still got my Astrid scar, so no worries there. But yes, Legacy Motormaster. Let's talk about this guy, because this guy's really cool. Now, I will say up front, I'm not going to do the combined mode transformation because I don't have the full team, so I'm just going to wait and do the full combined mode when I get everybody. Plus, let's be real, you've all probably watched a dozen or more videos on this guy before clicking on this one, and you've already seen the combined mode, so you don't really need to see it again from me, because I'm not going to be able to add anything new. But with that said, yes, Legacy Motormaster, this guy is really neat. I really like him, and I know some people have issues with the fact that they did the whole, like, the trailer becomes the combined mode bits, and Motormaster himself is just the cab section. Doesn't bother me at all. It actually works really well because if we unpeg Motormaster here, he pegs in surprisingly well, but unpeg him, there's the little bit down here that you can pull up to act as a little stand, so you can have the trailer just sitting up on its own. And this works really well for my purposes because I could just put this on the shelf right now, because I'm not going to do the combined mode until I have the full team, but I can just use this as a stand. So on the shelf where I've got all of my non-combined combiner figures, I just have this sitting there, and then I put like Medicus, basically. Medicus is the one I currently have on display that way, but yeah, I put him on there, and it works kind of like it's kind of like a makeshift riser for my shelf display. So that's totally fine for me because I can have this work as a display thing, and then I can have Motormaster in his individual robot mode. There is the trailer and Motormaster, and this is a really cool set. Really cool. Well, I say set. I think a set is technically true because he's considered a commander class. Also, yeah, there you can see how well that peg works. I do really like this figure. The truck mode does suffer from the the trailer being a little short. I don't care. It's just I know that, like, realistically speaking, if this were to be more accurate to the toy/cartoon, this trailer should be longer. Doesn't bother me at all. Still gets the Motormaster point across with the black cab with purple windows, gray trailer with the purple stripe. Like, it's Motormaster. You're not going to mistake this for someone else just because the trailer is a little shorter than normal. And it works really well. I think it's cool, and they did a lot of really nice detailing on this, so let's get into that. As you can see, right off the bat, they did silver on the rims for both the cab and the trailer. I really like that. And then the trailer, get him off of here because we're just going to talk about the trailer real quick. The trailer is, again, Motormaster trailer, so it's got the kind of corrugated metal texture on the side with the purple stripe, a nice Decepticon logo, and then, as is for some reason the thing they always like to do with Motormaster, big old gap in that purple stripe. It's just, they could have painted that. Whatever. You do get, unfortunately, some combiner mode junk right in the front section, which when you've got the cab attached, you don't see it as much, but it's a little bit obvious. I don't mind it, but it's there. And then along the top, it's pretty much smooth with some molded lines in there, and then this bit here, which is that disappointing gun we probably all know about at this point, and the purple bit that stands out for some reason. And then along the back, they kind of made it, they tried to make it look like like truck doors. They molded in those bars that go along there and kind of made the seam look like that's where the doors open. But there's so many hinges and different colors back here that it is still kind of like, you didn't quite pull it off. And they also molded in the rear taillights, which is nice. My Motormaster does have some discoloration, but it is not as bad as a lot of other people's. It's like this bit here, as you can see, is slightly yellowed. And so far, that's the only bit that I've got to deal with. I am completely fine with it. I do not care because you only see this if you're looking at the bottom of the trailer. And when are you looking at the bottom of the trailer? And in robot mode, or combined mode, it's tucked away in like the side of an arm joint, and you really only see it if you're looking at the figure from the top and specifically scrutinizing the shoulder. So it is not a problem. So I lucked out in that regard. But yeah, that is the trailer. It is a dense brick of a thing, which we will come back to in a few minutes. But of course, we need to talk about the star of the show, Motormaster. And his cab mode is adequate. It does kind of stink that you got this big gap down here, but I think that's kind of normal for these kinds of truck cabs, so it's fine. There's the purple gas tanks, which look good. The Decepticon logo on the side is neat, but it's dark purple on black, so it's not super obvious. At least with the windows, you can see them because they're big, solid chunks of color, but like that Decepticon logo, it just kind of, it doesn't stand out. I kind of feel like that may not have been necessary because you've got the Decepticon logo on the trailer already, but if you consider them two separate pieces, I guess it makes sense that they wanted to do the logos on, you know, both parts in case you've got the trailer off to one side and you just got the cab. You know, you want to show that he's a baddie. I don't know what else to say. It's just, it's a Motormaster looking cab. It's like a boxy truck with that little bit going up along the top. You got some extra detail along the top here, which will be more useful for robot mode, but you can just pretend it's like circuitry molded skylights. I don't know. Obvious Motormaster chest and crotch on the back if you know what you're looking for. The head is tucked away under there, and I've got the head turned around, so he's kind of, it kind of hides the face a little bit when he's looking this way as opposed to looking this way, but yeah, I don't know. The truck bits have some nice molding around. There are a lot of hinges and panels, but this guy also does a lot of things, so it's understandable. It's cool. I mean, I like the look. I like the silver that they used for the bumper and grille section, and the purple for the windows does stand out nicely with the black. I think if it was a little brighter, it'd be even better, but it is what it is. He's a brick on wheels, but he's very distinctly Motormaster, and I like that. Now let's bring the trailer back in, because I feel like if we're going to do a proper Motormaster size comparison, we're going to need to actually have all of Motormaster in the shot. It's not the best, but here is Motormaster with a bunch of mainline figures for comparison, and you know, he's supposed to be a commander class, so I think it makes sense that his vehicle mode is so comparatively large. And I'll bring this in a little bit. I have not gotten all of the Stunticons yet, obviously. I do have Wild Rider in the mail. He should be arriving somewhat shortly. I'm sure I'll have him in hand well before this video actually goes up, but this is what I got so far. So here is Motormaster with drag strip, and I mean, you know, it's a big tractor-trailer truck compared to a Formula 1 car. I feel like, of course, he's going to be a lot bigger. And yeah, as I said, commander class figure. Trailer does most of the work. He's big. Okay, transformation time. I'm going to start with the trailer, actually. So, Motormaster off to the side, and for the trailer, I'm not going to transform it into combined mode, but I am going to transform it into the base mode. So to start, going to pull this section out. That just unpegs from there, and you can see that the sword hides in there, so unpeg the sword, it just pegs into that little post there. So there we've got the sword, put that off to the side. And now this thing, I want to push these bits up and around, and they will peg in up here. And now these will open up, and this will open up, and this whole thing will come down. And now this whole assembly, once it's all straightened out, will fold down here and peg together. And peg together down here. And this will form a thing that we'll look at again in a minute. Now this bit, I want to fold this up. those up. Take this bit and swing that around like this, and then rotate this section around, and this will just sit like this, basically. Wonder what this becomes. I mean, not in this mode, but eventually. Now we want to split this. Just unpeg these bits from here, and these bits will split in half. And, let's see. It's been a minute since I've done the base mode. This will unpeg and swing down, I believe, just like this. And I think that's all we do with this. And then this, we'll do the same thing. Swing down just on this hinge. And we can bring this back in. And this is something that's really clever. These bits are supposed to peg in here. And they kind of peg in to just have this bit kind of coming off the side here. But what's really clever about it is, if you look, the pegs that need to go in are in very different spots. Like this one is over here and this one's over here. And so if things were symmetrical, it just wouldn't work because these are just in different places. So what they ended up doing, because they couldn't do pegs on the inside of this because of all the clearance stuff, they have these off-centered ports. So you can see one's way over to the edge here and one's more towards the center. And so what happens is when you peg these in, they just peg in like that. When you peg them in, even though the pegs are vastly off-center, it actually keeps them centered for the base mode, which is cool. That's good thinking. And they even use like this little detail here kind of hides that peg hole, but they molded the same detail in on this side, even though there's no peg hole there, specifically so that it looks symmetrical when you're looking at it from here. That's really clever. I like that. So I'm going to put that there, and actually, while we're doing it, let's form up more base stuff. So this thing, this tower thing, has these little tabs here, these little vertical tabs, and they will tab into these slots here. And you don't want to come in and then go down. You kind of want to slide in straight, because otherwise it kind of angles weird. So you just want to slide those in, tab those in, and now all that is pegged in. That's, okay. We're not going to look at that again. There is most of the base. Just nudge that off to the side so we can focus on the last little bits. So this is the top of the trailer. This splits apart. It pegs in really solidly, but that splits apart. This comes out, this chunk. We'll deal with that last. And now these bits, you want to grab here and fold this bit out, and then fold it out and around. And yeah, these will totally become the combined mode legs. But for now, for the purposes of the base, they're just going to be little like pylons. So unpeg this, swing it down, swing that down, and now we've got this going on, and you'll see these little pegs at the ends of the toes. Those will peg into these little peg holes here. And you can peg on either one on either side. I prefer to do it this way so that these bits are kind of more lined up with what's going on here rather than sticking out a little bit. So just going to peg, that's blocking the view. Just peg that in there and peg that in there. And here we have Legacy Motormaster's base mode, with the exception, wow, it's not that big, it just stretches out a lot. And then we also lastly have this thing. So this chunk, you unfold this and it becomes a gun, and then this just flips up to make like a little targeting scope or whatever, and these bits fold out as handles. And then this peg hole here will peg onto the top here. And this gives you a big, like, I don't know, mounted artillery cannon or something. And that is the base mode. And it's fine. We'll see more of it when we have robots to put on it. But I like that the trailer can do something other than become a frame for the combine mode. Personally, I still think it's best used as a display riser in its condensed brick mode, but yeah, this is fine. I can appreciate that they at least did something with it. Can I even get this off camera? Do I have room? Yes, okay. And now we can look at Motormaster himself, and let's bring this in a bit more because Motormaster is nowhere near as big as the base mode. So to start transforming him, I'm going to lift up these little things and pull them out. And there are these little pegs here that peg into what will become the hips. So that's why you're pulling up and then out. This comes in and pegs into place here, and just leave that off to the side. And here, again, you lift up and then fold out, push down, and there we've got that. Now, I want to lift up these bits on the top, which can be a little tricky, but pop these up. Come on. Come on. There we go. Let's pop that up, swing it around, and this will peg in here. And once you get one, it's a lot easier to get the other one, so bring that up, swing it around, and peg that in. There we go. Now we want to separate these panels from the sides here. And by separating those out, we'll be able to move what will become the legs, like so, and split the legs. And now this is something very important. When you straighten out the legs, you want to move this hinge forward as far as it'll go. There's a hinge here in addition to what becomes the knee. So you want to move this forward because if his center of gravity is back here, he doesn't have the heels to support that. So shift that as forward as it'll go. So you want it like that, not like this, like that. So bring that forward, and that will definitely help with stability. And now we can take this bit, fold that in, rotate it around. That gives you the cab feet. Take the wheel and tuck that in, and then bring the foot back in, and now he's got his proper Motormaster cab foot. And we just clean all of this up. So you want to take this bit of the panel here and fold that around, and that will peg in. Then fold this around, and that will peg in. And now this piece will finish swinging around, and it'll also rotate down. And then this will swing in and peg into the side of the leg. Same deal over here. Rotate it around, swing that in, and now this is a thing that I've seen people having some problems with. It can be a pain to get this wheel out if you try and just pull it out like this. But because of the combine mode, this bit opens up, and this is just for the combine mode. You don't touch this in any other context, but if you pull this up, that gives you much more to grip on for that wheel. So you can just pull the wheel out that way, and that makes it so much easier to get that wheel out. Because if that wheel is tucked in and you're trying to just get it like this, there's nothing to really grip onto. So just open the front of the toe up and fold it out that way, and that is so much easier. So there is that taken care of. Now we'll fold this in and peg that in, fold this in. Whoop, I want to get that out of the way. Don't want to flex things too much. Peg that in, bring that in, rotate it down, and peg it into the side of the leg. There we go. And there we've got Motormaster's legs all done. Now, you do have these big old rivets showing on the hips, and that is unfortunate. If you want, you can bring the hips up, rotate them around, and essentially spin everything around so that that big pin head is now facing back, and that does make the leg look a little bit cleaner. But problem is, you're gonna need to rotate it back around in order to go into the vehicle mode, because the peg that's on this flap here that pegs into the top for the cab mode, it will not work with this thing. You need to have this hole available in the front of the robot mode waist section Otherwise, it's not going to peg into place and the cab section is just not going to look quite right. So if you want to hide it, you can, but for the ease of transformation and stuff, I just leave it like this. So that is lower body done. The upper body is super simple. Just want to unpeg these very obvious arms from the thing here. There are these tabs here that peg in here and here. So unpeg those, swing them down, and these will clip in here. So just swing those down, clip those in, bring the arm down, and swing it down, clip it in. And this one likes to fight me. I don't know why, but it does go in eventually. It's just kind of weirdly angled, I guess. And then open these flaps up and flip the fists out. That was totally off camera, I'm sorry. And now this section will come up, and as you get partway up, you want to unpeg it from, or it kind of clips in, it doesn't like peg, but you want to unclip it from there so that you can finish bringing this down. And as you bring this down, make sure the head isn't getting in the way. As you finish bringing this down, this will peg into the back and shore everything up, get everything nice and solidly in place, and then rotate the head around. And there we have Legacy Motormaster in his Legacy Motormaster mode. And this is cool. If I didn't already have Fans Toys Road King, this would be my de facto Motormaster. I feel like this is my de facto mainline Motormaster, not just because of the fact that he's one of the only ones available, but because he is really good as just a standalone Motormaster. He is definitely, you know, this is not a Commander class figure. This alone. It's when you factor in all of this other stuff. All of this together, I feel like, yes, I see the Commander class in all of this. But this guy on his own, this is not a Commander class figure. But as I said, this compacted up works really well. It's just a display thing. So for the time being, that's fine. But of course, once I get the rest of the Stunticons, he's going to be combined up into Menasor and probably stay there. But anyway, yes, Motormaster is very cool. He's got the right look. He's got the truck cab feet, which, yes, it's a cheat. I don't care. Some people might, and that's fine, but I do not care. This is perfect for me. They painted the windows purple, so that works. They've got like the tiny grille and bumper and headlights. They painted all of those in, which is really nice. The only thing that really kind of stinks is this bit that hangs down here. I kind of wish that could fold up to get out of the way a little bit, just to clean this up a little bit more, but it's fine. Then he's got the big knee pads, which are a little bit odd, but I don't mind them. I actually think they're kind of cool. I guess they're not technically accurate, but I don't really care about accuracy that much. He's got the nice telltale, in this case white, as opposed to like a light gray, arms with the darker kind of central body, which I always like this look for Motormaster. Don't know why. There's some nice molding. He's also got some nice molding on the insides of the legs, actually, but there's some nice molding going all the way up through the chest, which is standard Motormastery chest, and they even got like the nice gray outline. Even on the pelvis, they did the nice gray trim. And it's, yeah, I don't know. This is just a really good looking Motormaster. The backpack is a little bit of a disappointment. I am with a lot of people in that I wish that this could have either like compressed more or folded in more so that the wheels weren't quite as very obviously there. They don't really get in the way of articulation if you have the arms facing, like going out just a little bit, but I just wish that these could compact a little bit more. I feel like more than anything, the visible wheels on his back are what make this the most obvious. That's what makes this more obviously a mainline release, because, you know, Hasbro just kind of does the kibble thing not quite as well. I mean, in some cases at least, but it's fine. It's not like a huge problem or anything. It's just this is the thing that I look at, and this screams mainline release the most to me, just having these wheels tacked on the back like that. But this is still a really cool Motormaster. And he's got a really, really nice Motormaster head. He's got that box that kind of tapers up slightly and even has little ears. But then he also has the angry-looking dark purple metallic face in there. And it's really good. The eyes are... It's hard to tell in this lighting whether the eyes even have paint on them. They do. It's just hard to tell because of the lighting. Like, you need to have the light shining directly into his face. But it's a really nice sculpt. It's really nice paint. And then for articulation, unfortunately, and this is a little disappointing considering he's a commander class figure, but he does, you know, there's all this. But unfortunately, the head is only on a rotation, so you can look left and right, and that's it. You cannot look up and down or tilt side to side. The arms can do a full 360, as I said, and if you bring them out, the wheels don't get in the way at all. You can bring them out all the way to 90, you get a bicep swivel, you get a 90-degree bend at the elbow, which I feel like could have gone more, but it's fine. You do, though, you do get wrist articulation, which is cool. You get a waist swivel, which can go all the way around if you really need it to. The legs can go forward on kind of soft ratchets, but stiff soft ratchets can go forward to 90 and can go back to 90. They can go out past 90. You get a thigh swivel. There's a double jointed knee that is a little bit... Okay, yeah, it bends a lot. And you can probably... Can you get further? No, I guess it's about as good as it's going to get if you bend it like that. But again, you just want to make sure you keep that leg as far forward as it'll go, because if you have it set back like this and like that, he is not going to want to stand up. He is going to tip back because now his center of gravity is back here. When you push them forward all the way, that shifts his center of gravity much more forward. So now he's not, like, he will still fall if you knock into him, but like he's not, you know, falling over on his own. And lastly, you get the ankle tilts, and you can rotate the foot, but you can only really rotate it when it's out all the way. You don't really get much when it's like this, so it's pretty much just the ankle tilt, but still pretty decently posable, especially for a mainline figure. I feel like, you know, mainline combining figure. Okay. Motormaster's combination, it's not as complex. Like, it doesn't have to do as much as, say, a Combiner Wars limb. He has a little bit of dedicated engineering for the combine mode, but, like, really he just kind of compacts into a box. So I like that he's not really compromised at all by being a combiner. Now, there is his sword, which we can give him, and that will peg into his fist, and that's adequate. I am kind of disappointed that there's no either peg on the sword or peg on the back here, so that you could like peg the sword onto his back. That just doesn't happen. You can kind of rest it in there if you really want to, but that's about all you got. Also, I'm just now noticing that the sword is actually painted. I didn't realize that. I thought this was just solid black, but looking at it now in better lighting, I realized they actually painted the blade. That is very surprising. And I think I must have scratched some of the paint off the tip because I tried using it to pry open panels before because I didn't realize it was painted. Oh well. But yeah, give him the sword. And also something that's kind of cool is if you unpeg the panel that the fist can tuck away into for vehicle mode, you can use that to give him like a little bit. It's not the cleanest, but you can use that to give him a little bit of a kind of point forward angle on his arm or on his wrist, which I think works well when he's got the sword in his hand. And then there is also this thing up here, which can unpeg, and this can peg into either hand, and you can use either peg, and it doesn't look great no matter what you do. It's just kind of like, okay, now he's got this, which is fine, but when you look at it from the top, it's like, it's very plain and waffly, and the waffliness doesn't necessarily bother me that much, but like just this is not what I would call the ideal Motormaster armament, at least in terms of looks. The sword is fine, but that gun is not the best. You could, I guess, go underslung to at least get more molded detail that way. So that's something. And if you want, because of his articulation with the hands and the arms and all that, you can plug this into both fists. There we go. Plug that into both fists. And plonk him down on top of the... there we go. Just got to angle his shoulders a bit more. So you can plonk him down on top of the base, and he can be on the main gun. The sword, I don't know, will it peg anywhere here? No. No. Is there a good place for the sword? Yeah, there we go, we could do that. I guess you just plug it in down there if you want. And this isn't bad, really. Like, it's silly, but it's a fun silly. This is kind of like, you know, I like how you basically have a play set. So you can bring in your other Stunticons and have them just kind of around if you really wanted. Or you could have them on the gun, although they aren't quite tall enough. But yeah, I appreciate that. Alright, let me get this out of the way so we can do some proper robot mode size comparisons. I really appreciate how much that all condenses down into a brick. Alright, let's get this out of the way. Okay, size comparison time. Now let's readjust this slightly. And as you can see with the more contemporary mainline comparisons, he's not huge. Just Motormaster as a standalone robot is not huge. He's like noticeably taller than a Voyager, but like not massive. I want to say vaguely leader height, maybe short leader. But again, this is just a fraction of what you're getting with this set. You've still got that trailer that does all the things. And let's adjust things a little bit here so that you can see how Motormaster looks next to Dragstrip, and that looks pretty cool. I'm looking forward to getting Wild Rider so I can have 3/5 of the team together. And I like how they are definitely evocative of their original designs, but they're also a little bit different. I like that they're a little bit different. And here he is with Magic Square's version of Motormaster. He definitely still takes some liberties, but yeah, of the two, this is the more cartoony looking one. But we've also got to bring in the big guy. And this is definitely the big guy. Let's shift everything over here so we can readjust again. Because, yeah, Fans Toys Road King is a very large standalone figure. Bigger than MP10, bigger than average MP10 height anyway. But they also do completely different things. And I would do a comparison with the Transformission Motormaster, but that whole set is currently in combined mode, and I just don't have it in me to disassemble the entire thing right now. So we'll have to make do with this instead. And that is going to do it for Transformers Legacy Motormaster. I do actually really like... I do actually really like this guy as a standalone figure. I don't think this, just what's on screen now, I do not think that is anywhere near worth Commander class prices. But as an entire set, with the base mode, with the combined mode, which we'll eventually hopefully see, it's a lot of moving parts, a lot of paint on this guy. I feel like the set is worth the price. If you're just looking for a standalone Motormaster, I don't necessarily think it's worth the price, and unfortunately, due to the way that this set combines, I'm not entirely sure you're going to be able to get this guy as a standalone figure. So yeah, if you're looking for just Motormaster as a standalone and you don't want to deal with all of the excess junk from that trailer, you might want to look elsewhere. But that is enough about what I think. What do you all think of Legacy Motormaster, and by extension, the Legacy Stunticons? Whatever your thoughts, feel free to chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. Thank you everybody for watching, and remember, it's just toys, so let's just have fun with it.